And the 2019 legislative session is in the books. Lawmakers kept passing bills right up to the midnight deadline last night, and tonight we want to walk you through the big bills that could impact you, your family, and your wallet.
So here's what passed: the red flag law, sweeping oil and gas reform, funding for full-day kindergarten, a plan to lower health insurance premiums, and changes to how sex education is taught in our schools.
The bills that did not get the votes this time around, a plan that would have made it harder for patients to opt out of vaccinations for their kids going to public schools, and a tax on nicotine products to help curb teen vaping.
And come November, you'll be voting on whether to make sports betting legal here in Colorado. You also have a say on whether the state can keep all the tax dollars it collects instead of having to give some of that money distributed back to you.
And some of the other bills that may have gone under the radar that passed this session include lowering the penalty for drug possession from a felony to a misdemeanor. And people on parole will soon be allowed to vote.
The Ban the Box campaign is also moving forward, geared towards leveling the playing field when it comes to job applicants. And another bill to help families: every newborn in Colorado will automatically receive $100 into a college savings account. Lawmakers passed this bill hoping even a small amount of savings will help students attend and then graduate college.
And state lawmakers were also able to repeal a 1999 law that kept local governments from creating their own minimum wage.
Denver 7's Megan Lopez shows us how this change could impact workers in our community.
It's not easy to make ends meet working on minimum wage.
I work 2 jobs in the airport.
People like Taglsir Muhammad work 70 hours a week just to pay their bills.
I have 3 kids in the college, and you have to work hard.
But recently, Taglsir got a big pay bump when Denver decided to raise its minimum wage to $15 an hour for city employees. So did Emily Sanderson.
So it's huge for me.
Her raise was thanks to the actions of her employer, Illegal Pete's.
Substantially less anxiety, way more time with my son.
But until now, those were the only 2 ways to raise the minimum wage without getting the state involved.
It was very much a one-size-fits-all approach.
In Colorado, minimum wage is $11.10 per hour. That number will bump up to $12 next year.
I can see that hurting a lot of our rural communities because the cost of living is definitely very different.
In places like Denver, though, where the cost of living is higher, it's not enough.
What works for Greeley is not going to necessarily work for Fort Morgan, Denver, Trinidad.
So lawmakers just passed a bill to allow local jurisdictions to set their own wage rules, so long as they aren't below the state standard. Mayor Michael Hancock was a big proponent, even testifying at a committee hearing for it. So were cities like Boulder and Lafayette. But the business community and the Colorado Chamber of Commerce were not. They were worried about workers leaving rural communities to take better paying jobs elsewhere.
To represent the people of Colorado.
In the end, though, state lawmakers decided that with a few amendments, local control was the way to go.
To actually do something to help working families in their communities, I think, is very important.
Meaning soon, Taglsir and Emily might not be the only ones making $15 an hour in Denver.
It's really up to local governments to take action at that point.
Megan Lopez, Denver 7.
Now, Governor Polis has voiced support for that bill. If he signs it, it will go into effect next year. But the earliest workers could see some of those raises is 2021.